Welcome to this edition of This Week in Civil Engineering, also known as Twice, a weekly news show focused on providing civil engineering professionals with the most important and relevant industry updates. I'm your host for this episode, Jeff Smith. I'm a licensed professional engineer practicing structural engineering in New York City. I oversee a team of the most creative designers building, renovating, and sustaining the world's future landmarks. You can find all of the episodes of This Week in Civil Engineering at twice.news. That's twice, TWICE.news. References to all of the news stories covered will be in the episode show notes. And if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to Twice playlist to receive weekly episodes. Now it's time for what's happening this week in civil engineering. Now it's time for this week's news. You are about to hear excerpts from stories referenced. Links to all the full articles can be found at twice.news. First, let's cover the biggest breaking news stories from this past week that might affect civil engineering companies and professionals. Firstly, Biden calls for major investments into carbon removal tech, from James Temple at technologyreview.com. On Sunday, the Biden-Harris transition team released documents laying out the incoming administration's early priorities, including a blueprint for tackling the climate crisis. Most of the details were drawn directly from Biden's sweeping campaign climate plan, which would dedicate $1.7 trillion to overhaul energy, transportation, agriculture, and other sectors. Biden hopes to make investments in negative emissions technologies, which can include carbon-sucking machines to speed up the natural processes through which minerals capture and lock away carbon, and schemes that rely on plants to absorb carbon dioxide, then convert them into fuel sources. Biden's early plan did mention reforestation and agricultural practices that could help increase carbon in soil, and the need for development of carbon capture, use, and storage, which refers to the preventing of the release of emissions from power plants and factories. Other areas to provide more research and development funding include battery storage, renewable hydrogen, new types of nuclear reactors, and new ways to clean up the production of steel, concrete, and other materials. It will be interesting to continue to learn about Biden's plans and goals and how they affect the built environment. Next up, let's look at an interesting story from the Western U.S. How a California county's mobility mavens are creating a future with autonomous vehicles, from Aileen Cho at ENR.com. Contra Costa Transportation Authority, or CCTA's highest profile effort, is Gomentum Station, the nation's largest dedicated secure testing facility for connected and automated vehicle technology, or AV. CCTA acquired the former military station and announced it would be a testing site for automated vehicles in 2014. Now owned and operated by the American Automobile Association of Northern California, Nevada, and Utah, the 2,110-acre facility in Concord, California, includes 22 miles of roads, 48 intersections, and 8 testing zones. CCTA, in partnership with the American Automobile Association and other entities, last year won a $7.5 million grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to support a 4-year automated driving system, or ADS, pilot program for 3 real-world demonstration projects. The projects are shared automated vehicle transportation for a senior community, automated vehicle shuttle service with a self-docking wheelchair apparatus for a county hospital, and the preparation of the I-680 corridor connected automated vehicles to the vehicle-to-technology and vehicle-to-vehicle infrastructure. Local Motors, the manufacturer of 2 autonomous shuttles intended to serve the retirement community, expects to deliver them for testing by the end of this year, says President Vikrant Agarwal. Randy set an example for his agency to work with consultants and contractors as a team. The integrated approach his project managers have used has benefited the taxpayers living in his district, as the CCTA has become an owner of choice for contractors bidding on the projects. It is exciting to hear about innovation transportation efforts like this one. We'll keep an eye on this one and update you as these pilot programs as they unfold. Next up, U.S. news and civil engineering. First, let's head to Louisiana. GRÖN hopes to start work in 2021 on renewable diesel plant that could be worth $9.2 billion, from Timothy Boone at theadvocate.com. Officials with GRÖN Fuel say that they are shooting for 2021 to break ground on a multi-phase renewable diesel fuel plant at the port of Greater Baton Rouge that could be as much as $9.2 billion investment over 9 years. The plant will use soybean and canola oil, tallow, and used cooking oil to produce renewable diesel fuel that is cleaner than the conventional diesel, officials said. Unlike biodiesel, renewable diesel can be used in existing engines, pipelines, and storage tanks. When the company receives approval from investors to fund at least $200 million of the plant and the start of transactions needed to begin construction, it will pay the port $3 million. Once GRÖN begins commercial operations, or no later than the end of 2023, the base lease will be $3.5 million a year. It will cost about $2.50 a gallon to make the diesel from soybean oil at the plant, but through wholesale sale of diesel and the various federal and California tax credits, a gallon of fuel will generate well over $5 in revenue. We're not going to make all that profit, Jarlow said. It's nice to see development so focused on renewable measures. Let's hope this reality becomes the new norm. Next up, let's head to Kentucky, where the governor recently celebrated groundbreaking on a new airport terminal project from Liz Carey at transportationtodaynews.com. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear joined local and state officials Friday to celebrate virtually the groundbreaking of a new $42 million airport terminal project in Paducah. The new terminal complex at the Barkley Regional Airport is funded by a $5 million commitment from the state and more than $19 million in grants from the federal government. Officials said they were confident that the project would receive more federal grant money in the future. We call this project the Airport of Our Future, but it is just the first step in making Barkley Regional Airport even more of an economic development engine for Paducah and all of far western Kentucky, said Dennis Rollo, the airport's executive director. Not only do we believe this will spur growth and development both on and around the airport, but by providing a new, modern, and attractive front door to the region, we believe we will help spur and facilitate growth throughout the entire region. This phase of construction will include bringing utilities to the site, relocating an automated weather station on the airport, and constructing a new access road for the terminal, among other things. In the meantime, the designs for the terminal building are being developed and are expected to be done in January. Officials hope construction for the building will begin in early 2021, with the building being open to the public in early 2023. This is exciting news for civil engineers in western Kentucky, as this project in and of itself will contain a lot of civil engineering work, but it may also spur the need for more civil engineering in the coming years in western Kentucky. Next up, some career inspiration for you. Let's take a quick break from the news for this week's Civil Engineering Career Inspiration. Today I would like to talk to you about daily task lists or to-do lists for the day. There are so many different ways to organize your task lists for the day, whether it's using OneNote, Outlook, spreadsheets, or even writing it down within a notepad or a piece of scrap paper. The key message here is keep a list somewhere to keep track of what you're doing. I would recommend David Allen's Getting Things Done if you want to take a deeper dive into productivity. There are also so many other books and resources out there to choose from. I like to do my task list for the next day, right before I am done with the previous day. That way, I can hit the ground running the next morning. Failing to plan is a plan to fail. Now, back to the news. Next, let's move on to some international news in civil engineering from this past week. First up, we're headed to London. The future of bridges. Maintenance regimes need more technology. From Madine Boudou at newcivilengineer.com. The controversy surrounding London's Hammersmith Bridge, which remains closed to motorized and pedestrian traffic, is a poignant reminder of how important adequate investment in bridge maintenance and remediation really is. In October, it was revealed that the bridge is set to remain closed to vehicles for another 6.5 years. It is expected to take several months to understand the condition of all of the pedestals, followed by 7 months of emergency stabilization work costing £13.9 million, which is just over $18 million US, and then 21 months of permanent stabilization work at a cost of £32 million, which is just over $42 million US. Better data management could be accelerated by specifying longer-term maintenance contracts with less risk of information being lost from contractor to contractor. According to London Technical Advisor Group's chairman, Satbir Gill, longer relationships improve service delivery. Williams Sale Partnership Limited Executive Director and Head of Civil, Bridge, and Ground Engineering, Steve Denton, said, "These basic things, good asset management, passing more responsibility to the contractor, and longer-term service delivery would be really beneficial. Exploring and adapting new technologies from drones to machine learning is the key to improving the way the industry captures and uses bridge data." Back in March, the budget announcement included £640 billion pledge to enhance the country's roads, railways, and housing. It is incumbent on the bridge engineering community to be able to clearly articulate the costs and consequences of different decisions. Next up, let's head to Russia, where Russia's massive LAKHTA Center has been named Skyscraper of the Year. From Adam Williams at newatlas.com. The LAKHTA Center, by Gore Projects and Robert Matthew Johnson Marshall, has been declared the world's best new skyscraper by information specialist Emporis, winning its annual Skyscraper Award. From over 700 skyscrapers officially completed in 2019, the number one spot has gone to Russia's massive LAKHTA Center, which rises a maximum height of 462 meters, which is 1,516 feet in St. Petersburg. It was designed by Gore Projects and Robert Matthew Johnson Marshall and is Europe's tallest building and the 13th tallest worldwide. It involved 20,000 people from 18 countries. Its facade comprises 16,505 individual pieces of glass, and the building takes the overall form of a spire with 5 wings that twists from top to bottom. The skyscraper was able to score points with the jury due to its use of environmentally friendly and energy efficient technologies. As the northernmost super tall skyscraper in the world, the building is exposed to extreme temperatures. A double skin facade prevents the necessary heat loss and makes it extraordinarily energy efficient. It is also a really beautiful looking building. Congratulations to the project team. On that note, let's cover a few infrastructure related stories, starting with some general news about infrastructure projects. Number 1 bridge, KOSCIUSZKO Bridge, Phase 2. Signature Bridge becomes the first cable-stayed structure in New York City. From staff reporter at roadsbridges.com. As New York City's first major bridge crossing since 1964, the new KOSCIUSZKO Bridge was completed 4 years ahead of schedule and on budget. With completion of the first span in 2017, the new bridge replaces a 1.1 mile segment of the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, or BQE, with 2 innovative parallel structures, each with a single tower cable-stayed main span over Newtown Creek. The original 1939 bridge was structurally deficient, resulting in a functionally obsolete bottleneck on one of New York City's few north-south interstates. Maintenance had become costly and more frequent, so it was determined that the bridge should be replaced to ensure that the safety of its 180,000 daily motorists. Single-tower cable-stayed structures are rare, and this bridge was even more exceptional by the unique, unbalanced span arrangement that accommodates environmental and local roadway constraints below. The precast concrete deck is supported by steel floor beams and edge girders. The 56 stay cables, placed at various angles to connect to the edge girder to the 2 vertical legs of the pylon, comprise nearly 1 million linear feet of steel strands. The graceful design provides motorists and pedestrians a clear, unobstructed view as they cross the boroughs. Built to last the next 100 years, the sustainable design minimizes maintenance costs. Another beautiful structure, thanks to structural engineers, among others on the talented project team. Next up, to Alabama. Low-carbon piping with sensor technology could transform the way infrastructure projects work. From Anmar Frangul at CNBC.com. In a statement issued on Monday, the University of Birmingham said the program would be led by a firm called Aquaspira, which specializes in the production of large diameter drainage pipes. The idea is for the project to support the development of composite plastic and steel drainage and stormwater pipes, which incorporates high levels of recycled material. In addition, sensors will be integrated into the piping. This technology will be used to detect and report changes in the environmental conditions, which will in turn allow any problematic issues to be quickly identified and remedied. As concerns about sustainability grow, a number of interesting ideas and technologies are being developed to try to mitigate the environmental footprint of the construction sector. This includes the deployment of hydrogen fuel cells to provide heat and power to off-grid sites, as well as the development of low and zero-emission pieces of machinery. In the United Kingdom, the DB Group has developed Cem Free, which is described as a totally cement-free alternative to conventional concrete. To date, the material has been used in a number of settings, including part of the M25, a major freeway in the south of England. As some of these different products are being developed, it will be interesting to monitor their effectiveness as compared with traditional methods. Yes, we all want more renewable initiatives, but of course, we want products that work and keep the public safe. To wrap up, here's an inspiring quote to motivate you for the rest of your day. Lindsay O'Leary, the executive director of the Texas section of ASCE, while speaking on episode 105 of the Civil Engineering Podcast, said, "Sometimes just saying yes and trying something outside the box can lead you to something that you absolutely love doing and didn't even know was possible." This is such a great idea, something that we can all try. There you have it. That's what's happening this week in civil engineering. You can find references to all of the stories mentioned at twice.news, and all episodes are also published in video on EMI's YouTube channel at youtube.com/engineeringcareers. Remember, subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and of course, YouTube for the video version. This is Jeff Smith signing off. We'll see you next week. In the meantime, go and be the best civil engineering professional that you can be.